You know, if it were me, I'd I'd put a. I mean, it's a bit harsh. I'd put an Instagram story online, you know, saying that there's a death to all gang members, all that in New Zealand, or, you know, Auckland, just alone in Auckland, hunted down. But it's just because of gun control, you know. That's the thing. What the police can't do anything unless if you're offending. But that's because that's the way of life, right? You have the free right, you know, freedoms. It's like, you know, my tutor here, he's right, you know. What's the point? I mean, it's a terrible situation over here, man. But, you know, one thing is that first, it gets to the point where you want fire with fire. And some people are looking at youth rehabilitating. That's fine by me, that as long as they work out. Because, first of all, gangs is always territorial. And second of all, it's always about women. The surplus of men will always have gangs and gets together. Because, you see, these people, whether they're handsome or not, you know, the looks and all that, the result is this. You've got too many competing authorities. Gangs are just another form of authorities that want to group with. We have first the legal, and then the illegal. Like in, you know, there's a. I'm just putting out, but there's a truth in these movies that the grand table, the high table, is a representative of the ordered, structured, ordered, structured party, the ordered, structured group of the government. The government is, in a way, deciding on laws, this and that dictate our lives. That we don't call them gangs, but in essence, they're just there to put the power in perspective. Whereas the police. Now, I don't blame the police for being brutality. Now, what they're doing in America is just as bad, worse. They're not catching the right criminals. They can shoot the criminals for all I care. They got shooters, but the shooters aren't part of the problem. Mass murderers or mass shootings aren't part of the problem. It's the society, the whole system that makes it a problem. Where we see the rich are so apathetic about the situation because they're the ones who set these things up, these things that happen in place. Because we'll go on about that later on. But with gangs as a problem, the shootings, what? So you'd say that everybody is a criminal. Everybody, even the legal civilians, are potential criminals. All it takes for one bad day for a guy to just go on a rampage. Why? Because every animal, literally, because humans are that, you cannot deny, even though we can be smart, we are still dictated by our confined systems. The only difference is that we have allowed ourselves to put ourselves in a box, whereas animals, they're already in a box. You know, as in a smart. You know, we're using all these intelligence and all that. Intelligence, ideologies that divide us and we allow them to do it because they hold our sense of identity, and it is very difficult for a human being to align with what else there is not than an ideology. You see, for example, women themselves are carriers of life, you know, givers of life. No, actually not givers, but carriers. Men are the givers, actually. Because no matter how much women would like to try, the egg can't create a second, sperm. When you talk about, artificial, no, that's created by the XY, the giver. But you bring technology into that, but biologically, it is impossible. Now, aside from that, I'm getting sidetracked. These gangs are a problem. Black power and all that, because they've got a huge reputation for wanting to have power. You kill a 10, they come after you with 30, and then you can't keep going on and on. You against numbers, who's gonna win? Numbers, of course, It's like a fork. If you eat with a fork, with rice, you eat rice with a fork, how are you gonna eat? Because some of the rice is gonna fall through. You need a spoon to eat rice. you need to. So that's what I mean. No, seriously, think about that analogy I just gave you. It's just difficult to. And the cops. I mean, I admit I used to hate these cops and all that because I was the one who committed these crimes. Do you know why? Because people, when they commit crimes, they hate cops. It's as simple as that. If you did not do wrong, but again, there's another side that also law itself is made by wrongdoers. There are people who are in parliament who, for the sake of power, will not truly know what's right, and they will just make up laws just to benefit their own money, their protection, their cronyism. There is a definition in this life of good and bad. Many people argue that there is a gray area. Oh, for sure there's a gray area, in which whether you're going to decide to be black or white. But black can disguise itself as white, and white can disguise itself as black. But naivety, in a way, is considered gray. True gray is considered naivety. You're naive. That's where I would say, in a sense, yeah, that's. But because I do not believe for 1 second that a human is born on this planet without any experience. Sure, he may be born as a blank slate when he is developing. But the soul comes in, and that's where you have, you're born into a family you choose, or you're born into a family to work on, or sometimes you might be born into a family you did not choose on, but others may have chosen for you. That is always a fact. You are never born superficially, materialistically, in where you are just born with random chances. There is no such thing on Earth. In other places, in other worlds, in other planets, in other extraterrestrial species, there is a chance, yes. But for Earth, it is possible. There are human souls, or there are souls who are, first time being reincarnated. Or, no, not reincarnated, first time being incarnated, not reincarnated. But there is a solidified evidence and difference in which people just do not want to see the truth. It is undeniable. It's just that we are heading towards a world where technocracy by the billionaires are pursuing to make their world a reality. That's all I can say.